So, how do I solve an absolute value equation? I'm glad you asked. It's your girl Tiffany with Tiffany's Tutoring and Consulting, and I'm guiding you through these education streets. All right, let's get right to it. So, when I look at absolute value, I have to think about what is absolute value. I'm glad you asked. Absolute value is the distance of a number from zero. So, I could have -5, and the distance between -5 and zero is 5. +5, obviously, that distance is +5, but absolute value is positive, but it could have started with a negative number to get there. So we're going to keep that in mind. We want to isolate first the absolute value. So I want to have nothing but absolute value. I don't want to have any coefficients, any constants behind it. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the 2. Okay. The 2, I move the 2 because it's the furthest away from M, but on the same side. No need to move in the 20 because the 20 is already over on the other side. So I'm going to do the inverse of addition, which you guessed it is subtraction. I'm going to go ahead and subtract and bring everything else down. Okay, great. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that coefficient. Now, a coefficient is basically multiplication to the variable. This is not a variable, obviously, but it kind of acts like that. You can think of this kind of parentheses or brackets. It's multiplication. The inverse of multiplication, you on top of things, is division. So I'm going to bring down my absolute value. Please don't lose the absolute value in translation. Please don't lose it. Don't do it. Now I have my absolute value alone the way it likes to be. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these into two equations because remember, my original could have been negative or positive. So let's separate it into two equations. The first equation is pretty straightforward. M minus 14 equals positive 6. So let's go ahead and solve that. Get M by itself, isolate the variable. I'm going to add 14 because addition is the inverse of subtraction to both sides. So M is 20. Pretty straightforward. Now on the second one, it's a little tricky. I'm gonna go ahead and write the M minus 14 and see if you can figure out what it equals to. Glad you had a chance to pause it. Hopefully you did. Dun, 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 -6. Great job. Again, remember, we're thinking about the original answer could have been negative. So I'm going to still do inverse operations. I'm going to add 14 to both sides. Obviously, my answer is going to be different because I have a -6, M is 8. Then you have solved your absolute value equation. Now, if you want to check and say, hey, I don't really know, let's check. We're not going to check all, but let's check this one with the -6, okay? So we're going to say M minus 14. We're going to just rewrite the equation here. And then instead of M, we're going to put 8. And we're going to see, is it really equal to 20, okay? We're going to just do order of operations. 8 minus 14 is going to give you a -6. Then the absolute value of -6 is +6. So that's 3 times 6 plus 2. And as we can see, that is going to give us 20. Great job, guys. You did an amazing job. You can always check your answers this way with an equation, excuse me. You really should be able to understand that you got the correct answer because you can always check and plug your answer back in for inequality also. All right, guys, hope this helped. If you have any other questions or comments, leave them below. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.